Mới chết ha. Ha. Chết là Hai. Boramy. Chẳng tay. Ha, cái nè.
In June of 2022, a 41-year-old fisherman from a remote Cambodian island did the impossible. He landed a 661-pound monster that had broken lines, snapped rods, and dragged boats for miles. The authorities had tried and failed. The scientists had tried and failed. But this fisherman, using a bait that everyone else called crazy, caught the largest freshwater fish ever recorded. This is his story. It moves like a shadow beneath the brown water. A living carpet of muscle and cartilage, 13 feet long from snout to tail. A disk of mottled gray flesh wider than a car. It weighs 661 pounds, the size of a grand piano. A predator that has remained unchanged for millions of years, a ghost of the Mekong River, and it is hungry. On the surface, the world is quiet. The air is thick with the smell of wet earth and diesel fumes. A long-tail boat drifts in the current. In it, a man named Kon Sophol sits and waits. He is 41 years old. His face is a road map of sun and wind. His hands are calloused and scarred from a lifetime of pulling nets and lines from this river. He is a fisherman, like his father, and his grandfather before him. But today he is not fishing for catfish, or carp, or any of the other 100 species that fill the markets of Phnom Penh. Today he is hunting a monster. He calls it Boramy, full moon, a beautiful female. He has seen her before, twice. Both times she has broken his line. Both times she has disappeared into the depths, leaving him with nothing but a story that no one believes. She's a myth, his friends tell him, a ghost. You're wasting your time. They laugh at his methods, his obsession, his bait. You're using what? They ask, their voices dripping with ridicule. Rotten bananas? You're trying to catch a river monster with rotten bananas? Sophol says nothing. He just smiles, lets them laugh. He knows what he knows. He has seen what he has seen. And he has a secret passed down from his grandfather, a secret that the modern world has forgotten, a secret that he believes will finally land him the monster of the Mekong. He reaches into a bucket. The smell is overwhelming, sweet and pungent. The bananas are black, mushy, almost liquid. He mashes them into a paste, mixes it with a handful of river snails, a dash of fermented fish sauce. The concoction is vile, disgusting, but it is the secret. His grandfather told him the story, a story from a time before nylon nets and steel hooks, a time when fishermen had to be smarter than the fish, more patient, more cunning. The big ones don't want what the little ones want, his grandfather had said. They don't want live bait. They don't want shiny lures. They want something different, something that smells of the river itself, of life and death, of decay and rebirth. Rotten bananas. It sounds insane, but his grandfather swore by it, said it was the only way to catch the true giants of the Mekong, the ones that hide in the deepest holes, the ones that only come out at night, the ones that everyone else thinks are just stories. Sophol baits his hook, a massive hand-forged piece of steel the size of his hand. He lowers it into the water. The line is thick, heavy, more like a rope than a fishing line. He has tied it to the boat itself. A risky move. If the fish is big enough, it could pull the boat under. But Sophol is not afraid. He is ready. He has chosen his spot carefully. A deep pool just downstream from the island of Ko Phraya, a place where the current slows, where the river gives up its secrets. He knows this water, every rock, every snag, every eddy. He has been fishing it since he was a boy. Hours pass. The sun beats down. The river is a mirror of molten brass. Nothing, not a nibble, not a tug, The other fishermen in their boats motor past, shaking their heads, laughing, pointing. "Still fishing for ghosts, Sophol?" one of them shouts. Sophol ignores him. He closes his eyes, listens to the river, feels the rhythm of the current, waits. Patience is the first lesson of the fisherman, the most important lesson. And then it happens. A slight tremor in the line, a gentle pull, almost imperceptible. Sophol's eyes snap open. He is instantly alert, every muscle tensed. He waits, doesn't move, doesn't breathe. The pull comes again, stronger this time, a slow, steady pressure. This is no catfish, no carp. This is something else, something big, something powerful. Sophol lets the fish take the line, lets it run. He knows he can't fight it, not yet. He has to let it tire itself out, let it make a mistake. He is the matador. The fish is the bull. And this is a dance as old as time. 30 minutes pass, an hour. The sun begins to set. The sky turns a bruised purple. The line is still running. The fish is showing no signs of slowing. Sophol's hands are raw. His back aches. But he holds on. He has to. Then the fish changes tactics. It stops running, dives deep, a dead weight, an anchor. Sophol pulls. The line is taut as a piano wire. It sings in the twilight. He pulls again. Nothing. It's like being snagged on the bottom of the river. But the bottom doesn't move. This is the test, the moment of truth. Sophol knows what he has to do. He has to break the fish's will. He has to show it who is master. He begins to pull, not with his arms, but with his whole body, his legs, his back, his core. He puts every ounce of his strength into it. The boat groans. The line creaks. For a moment he thinks it will snap, but it holds, and then slowly, agonizingly, the fish begins to rise, an inch at a time, a foot at a time. Sophol can feel the immense weight, the raw power. It's like lifting a car from the bottom of the river. He grunts with the effort. Sweat pours down his face. But he doesn't stop. He can't stop. Suddenly the pressure eases. The fish is coming up. Fast, too fast. Sophol reels frantically, tries to keep the line tight. But it's no use. The fish is in control, and it is angry. It breaks the surface. A wave of black water, a glimpse of a massive dark shape, and then it is gone, diving again, running again. The battle is far from over. It has just begun. Night falls. The river is a black, starless void. Sophol is alone. The other fishermen have gone home. They think he is crazy, a fool, chasing a ghost. But Sophol knows. He has felt the power. He has seen the shadow. The ghost is real, and it is on the end of his line. He fights for another hour, another 2. His body is screaming in protest. His muscles are on fire. He is exhausted, but he cannot give up. He will not give up. This is his moment, his destiny. And then he feels a change. The fish is tiring. The runs are shorter. The dives are shallower. It is weakening. Sophol presses his advantage. He pulls, he reels, he gains line. The fish is coming closer, closer. He sees it, a dark shape in the water, a massive circular shadow. It is huge, bigger than he ever imagined, bigger than any fish he has ever seen. He can't believe his eyes. He knows he can't land it alone. He needs help. He reaches for his phone. His hands are shaking. He can barely dial. He calls Mol Thun, the leader of the local fishing community. "I have it," he says, his voice a hoarse whisper. "I have the ghost, but it's too big. I need help." Thun doesn't hesitate. He knows Sophol, knows his reputation, knows he is not a man to lie or exaggerate. "I'm coming," he says, "and I'm bringing everyone." Within an hour, the river is alive with boats, a dozen of them, all filled with fishermen. They have come to see the ghost, to see the monster, to see if the crazy man with the rotten bananas has finally done the impossible. They see the size of the fish. Their laughter dies in their throats. They are silent, awed, humbled. They have never seen anything like it. No one has. It takes 12 men to pull the fish from the water. They slide it onto a massive green tarp. They pour water over it, keep it alive. They know this is something special, something sacred. They call the scientists, the conservationists, the experts from the wonders of the Mekong project. They come racing from Phnom Penh. They bring their scales, their measuring tapes, their tags. They weigh the fish. The number is staggering. 300 kilograms, 661 pounds. It is the largest freshwater fish ever recorded. Anywhere in the world, they measure it. Over 13 feet long, a giant, a leviathan, a creature from another time. They tag it. An acoustic tag that will allow them to track its movements, to study its behavior, to learn its secrets, and then they release it. They slide the massive fish back into the water. It rests for a moment, gathers its strength, and then, with a flick of its powerful tail, it is gone, disappeared into the brown water, a ghost once more. Sophol watches it go. He is exhausted, sore, but he is smiling. He has done it. He has caught the monster. He has proven his grandfather right. He has shown the world that the old ways are not always the wrong ways, that sometimes the craziest ideas are the ones that change everything. He is no longer the crazy man with the rotten bananas. He is a hero, a legend, the man who caught the biggest fish in the world. His story spreads, first through the village, then through the country, then around the world. It is a story of patience, of perseverance, of faith, a story of a man who dared to be different, who dared to believe in a secret that everyone else had forgotten. And in a world of high-tech fishing gear and computer-guided boats, it is a story that reminds us of a simple, timeless truth. Sometimes the best way to catch a monster is with a little bit of faith, a lot of patience, and a bucket of rotten bananas. Sophol's catch was more than just a world record. It was a symbol of hope, a sign that even in a world of shrinking habitats and disappearing species, there are still giants in the river, still mysteries to be discovered, still wonders to be found. And it was a testament to the power of traditional knowledge, a reminder that the old ways, the forgotten ways, the crazy ways sometimes hold the key to the future. A future where humans and nature can coexist. A future where the ghosts of the river can continue to swim, to thrive, to inspire. A future that Kon Sophol, the fisherman from Ko Phraya, helped to create, with a little help from his grandfather, and a bucket of rotten bananas. The secret was out, and the world would never be the same. The laughter had stopped, and in its place there was only awe, respect, and a new understanding of the deep, mysterious, and wonderful world that lies just beneath the surface of the Mekong River. A world of giants, a world of ghosts, a world that, thanks to one man's crazy idea, we now know a little bit more about, and are a little bit more inspired to protect. For generations to come, the legacy of the rotten bananas, the legacy of the ghost of the Mekong, the legacy of Kon Sophol, the fisherman who dared to believe, and who, in doing so, changed the world. The story could have ended there, a happy ending, a feel-good tale of a local fisherman making good. But the world is not a fairy tale, and the Mekong is not a gentle river. It is a place of beauty, yes, but also of danger, of conflict, of unintended consequences. Sophol's fame brought him attention, but it also brought him problems, the kind of problems that come with money, with jealousy, with greed. The Cambodian government, eager to capitalize on the international publicity, declared Ko Phraya a protected area. They banned commercial fishing. They restricted access to the river. They turned Sophol's home into a tourist attraction. Suddenly, the fishermen who had laughed at Sophol were no longer laughing. They were angry. They had lost their livelihoods, their way of life, and they blamed him. "You did this," they said, their voices filled with venom. "You and your monster. You have ruined us." Sophol was devastated. He had never intended for this to happen. He had only wanted to prove his grandfather right, to catch the ghost. He had become a hero to the world, but a villain in his own village. He tried to reason with them, to explain, but they would not listen. They saw him as a traitor, a sellout, a man who had traded his community for a moment of glory. He became an outcast, a pariah. The man who had once been a source of ridicule was now a source of hatred. He was alone, more alone than he had ever been on his boat in the middle of the river. And then the threats started. Notes left on his boat, his nets cut, his house vandalized. He feared for his safety, for his family's safety. He went to the authorities, the same authorities who had praised him, who had used his story for their own gain. They offered him protection, a bodyguard, a new home in the city. But Sophol refused. This was his home, his river, his community. He would not be driven away. He would not abandon his people, even if they had abandoned him. He knew he had to do something. He had to find a way to bridge the divide, to heal the wound, to turn his fame into something that could benefit everyone. Not just the government, not just the tourists, but the fishermen, his people. He had an idea, a crazy idea, an idea that was even crazier than using rotten bananas to catch a monster. He would start a school of traditional fishing, a school where he would teach the old ways, the forgotten ways, the ways of his grandfather, the ways that respected the river, that sustained the community, that ensured there would be fish for generations to come. He would teach them how to fish with rotten bananas, how to read the river, how to understand the currents, how to think like a fish, how to be a fisherman, not just a man with a net. And he would do it for free, for anyone who wanted to learn, for his community, for his people. They laughed at him again. Of course they did. A school? They scoffed. What can you teach us that we don't already know? But Sophol was patient. He had learned patience from the river. He started small, with a few of the younger fishermen, the ones who were not yet hardened by cynicism, the ones who were still open to new ideas, even crazy ones. He took them to the river. He showed them the secrets. He taught them the ways. And slowly they began to learn, they began to see, they began to understand. And then they began to catch fish. Big fish, bigger fish than they had ever caught before. They were using less fuel, less time, less effort. And they were catching more. The other fishermen noticed. They saw the success of Sophol's students. They saw the abundance of their catches. They saw the smiles on their faces. And their anger began to turn into curiosity, their hatred into a grudging respect. One by one they came to him, the same men who had mocked him, who had threatened him. They came to his school. They came to learn. They came to be fishermen again. Sophol welcomed them all. He taught them all. He shared his secrets with them all, and in doing so, he healed the wound. He bridged the divide. He brought his community back together. The school grew. It became a model for sustainable fishing, a beacon of hope for communities up and down the Mekong. The government, seeing its success, began to support it, to fund it, to replicate it in other villages. Sophol became a teacher, a leader, a respected elder. He had found a new purpose, a new destiny, a new way to be a hero. And the ghost of the Mekong? Boramy? She was still out there. The scientists were still tracking her, learning from her. She had become a symbol of the river's resilience, of its mystery, of its enduring power. Sometimes, late at night, when the moon was full, Sophol would go out on the river. He would sit in his boat. He would feel the current. He would listen to the water. And sometimes he would feel a gentle pull on his line, a familiar tremor. And he would smile. He knew she was still there, his ghost, his monster, his partner in a story that had changed the world, a story that was still being written. One fisherman, one student, one rotten banana at a time. The river had given him a monster, and he had given the river a future. It was a fair trade, a good trade, a trade that would sustain his people, his community, his river for generations to come. The crazy man with the rotten bananas had become the wise man of the Mekong, and his secret was no longer a secret. It was a gift to the world, a gift that would keep on giving, long after the laughter had faded, long after the headlines had been forgotten, long after the ghost had returned to the depths. The gift of a fisherman who knew that the greatest catch is not a fish, it is a future. And that is a catch worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for, worth believing in, even when the whole world thinks you're crazy. The scientists, led by Zeb Hogan, a man who had dedicated his life to finding these river giants, were ecstatic. But they were also worried. A fish this size, this rare, was a target. For poachers, for collectors, for anyone looking to make a quick fortune. "We have to protect her," Hogan said to Sophol. "She's more valuable alive than dead." Sophol knew that, but he also knew the reality of his world, a world where a single fish could feed a family for a month, where a world record was just a number to men who were struggling to survive. He agreed to help. He became Boramy's guardian, her protector. He organized a network of fishermen to watch over her, to report any suspicious activity, to ensure that the ghost of the Mekong remained a ghost. It was a dangerous job. The poachers were not happy. They saw Boramy as a prize, a treasure, and they were willing to do whatever it took to get her. One night, Sophol was on patrol. He saw a boat he didn't recognize. It was moving slowly, quietly, without lights. He knew what they were after. He followed them, kept his distance, watched as they dropped a massive weighted net into the water. A net designed to catch a giant. A net that would kill Boramy. Sophol had to act. But he was alone, and they were armed. He had only his boat, his knowledge of the river, and his courage. He did something crazy, something reckless, something that no sane fisherman would ever do. He drove his boat directly at their net. He cut his engine at the last second. The current did the rest. His boat, silent and dark, drifted into the net, became entangled, a snag, a dead weight. The poachers cursed. They thought they had hit a log. They tried to pull the net up, but it was too heavy. They couldn't move it. They were stuck. Sophol waited. He could hear them arguing, frustrated, angry. He knew he didn't have much time. They would figure it out eventually. They would come for him. He quietly slipped over the side of his boat, into the black water. He swam to their boat. He was a ghost in the night, a shadow. He climbed aboard. They never heard him. He found their fuel lines. He had a knife. He cut them. All of them. The gasoline poured into the bottom of the boat. The fumes were overpowering. And then he did something even crazier. He took out a lighter, a single tiny flame in the vast darkness of the river. "Leave the fish," he said, his voice calm and steady, "or we all die." The poachers froze. They saw the lighter. They smelled the gasoline. They saw the look in Sophol's eyes, the look of a man who had nothing to lose, a man who was willing to die for a fish. They were terrified. They cut the net, freed his boat. They started their engine. It sputtered, died. They were stranded, helpless. Sophol watched them drift away. He did not feel triumph. He did not feel pride. He only felt a deep, profound sadness, a sadness for the river, for his people, for a world where a man had to risk his life to protect a fish. He went back to his boat. He pulled up his net. He went home. He did not tell anyone what he had done. It was his secret, his burden, his sacrifice. But the story got out. The poachers were found. They were arrested. They told the authorities what had happened. They told them about the crazy fisherman who was willing to blow himself up for a stingray. Sophol became a hero again. But this time, it was different. This time, he was a hero to his own people. They saw his courage, his sacrifice, his love for the river. They understood. He had not just saved a fish. He had saved them. He had saved their river, their future, their honor. The school of traditional fishing became more than just a school. It became a movement, a symbol of a new way of thinking, a way that balanced tradition and progress, conservation and survival, a way that recognized that the health of the river and the health of the community were one and the same. Sophol's crazy idea had changed everything. Again. He had started a revolution, not with a gun, not with a protest, but with a bucket of rotten bananas and a willingness to die for what he believed in. The ghost of the Mekong was safe, for now, and the people of the Mekong had a new sense of hope, a new sense of purpose, a new sense of pride, all because of one man, a fisherman, a teacher, a hero, the crazy man of the Mekong, the man who had shown them that sometimes the most valuable treasures are not the ones you can sell. They are the ones you protect, the ones you cherish, the ones you fight for, the ones that make you a legend, the ones that make you immortal, the ones that make you a ghost of the river, a guardian, a protector, forever. The story of Kon Sophol and the giant stingray became a legend, a modern myth, a tale told and retold in villages up and down the Mekong, a story of a simple fisherman who did the impossible, who faced down ridicule, hatred, and even death to protect a creature that the world had forgotten. But legends have a way of attracting attention, and not all of it is good. The story reached the ears of a man named Dr. Alistair Finch, a wealthy collector of exotic animals, a man who believed that the rarest creatures in the world belonged in his private zoo, not in the wild. Finch was a man who always got what he wanted, and he wanted Boramy. He wanted the ghost of the Mekong, and he was willing to pay any price to get her. He came to Cambodia. He brought his team of mercenaries, his high-tech equipment, his millions of dollars. He was a force of nature, a storm on the horizon. He tried to buy Sophol, offered him a fortune, a new life, anything he wanted. Sophol refused. Boramy was not for sale. Finch was not a man who took no for an answer. If he could not buy the fish, he would take it. He declared war on Sophol, on the community, on the river itself. It was a war of technology versus tradition, of money versus faith, of greed versus conservation. Finch's team used sonar to map the riverbed, drones to patrol the skies. They had night vision, thermal imaging. They had every advantage. Sophol had his knowledge of the river, his network of fishermen, his courage, and his crazy ideas. It was a battle of wits, a chess match on a river of brown water. Finch would set his traps. Sophol would find them, disable them. He used his students, his community. They were his eyes and ears. They were the river's immune system, and Finch was the virus. For weeks, the battle raged. Finch grew more and more frustrated. He was used to winning, to getting his way. He could not understand how a simple fisherman could outsmart him, outmaneuver him, defeat him. He decided to escalate. He would not just capture the fish, he would destroy the village. He would burn it to the ground. He would make them pay for their defiance. He sent his mercenaries in the dead of night. They came with torches, with gasoline, with hate in their hearts. But Sophol was ready. He had anticipated this. He had prepared for it. He had a trap of his own, a trap made of bamboo, of vines, of the river itself, a trap that was as old as the village, as old as the river, a trap that was designed to catch men, not fish. The mercenaries walked into it. They were caught. They were helpless. They were at the mercy of the villagers, the same villagers they had come to destroy. There was no violence, no bloodshed. The villagers did not want revenge. They wanted justice. They wanted peace. They held the mercenaries until the authorities arrived. They handed them over, along with the evidence of their crimes, the torches, the gasoline, the plans to burn the village. Finch was arrested. His private zoo was raided. His collection of rare animals was confiscated. He was disgraced, ruined, a man who had everything and lost it all because he could not understand that some things are not for sale. Some things are sacred. Some things are priceless. Sophol had won. The village was safe. The river was safe. Boramy was safe. He had faced down the modern world. And he had won. He had proven that courage, community, and a deep love for the natural world are more powerful than money, technology, or greed. He had become more than a hero, more than a legend. He had become a symbol of resistance, a symbol of hope, a symbol of the enduring power of the human spirit to protect the things that matter, the things that are truly valuable, the things that make us human. The school of traditional fishing flourished. It became a center for conservation, for research, for a new kind of tourism, a tourism that was respectful, sustainable. That benefited the community, not just the tour operators. People came from all over the world, not just to see the river, but to learn from it, to learn from Sophol, to learn the secrets of the rotten bananas, the secrets of the river, the secrets of a life lived in harmony with nature. And Boramy? She became the queen of the Mekong, a living legend, a symbol of the river's resilience, a reminder of the giants that still swim in its depths, a promise of a future where humans and nature can not only coexist, but thrive together. Kon Sophol, the crazy fisherman from Ko Phraya, had not just caught a fish. He had caught a dream of a better world, a world where the ghosts of the river are not just stories, but living, breathing realities, a world that he and his community and his school were building. One day, one fish, one crazy idea at a time. The revolution of the rotten bananas had begun, and it was changing the world, for the better, forever. The years passed. The legend of Kon Sophol and Boramy grew. It became a story told to children, a story of courage, of wisdom, of the power of one man to change the world. But it was more than just a story. It was a blueprint, a model for a new kind of conservation, a conservation that was led by local communities, that was rooted in traditional knowledge, that was built on respect for the natural world. The school of traditional fishing became a global phenomenon. It attracted students from every corner of the globe, scientists, conservationists, fishermen, all coming to learn from the wise man of the Mekong, all coming to learn the secrets of the rotten bananas. Sophol, now in his late 50s, was a reluctant guru. He was a simple fisherman, a man of the river. He was not comfortable with the attention. with the fame, but he understood its power. He understood his responsibility. He used his platform to advocate for the protection of rivers around the world. He spoke at the United Nations. He met with world leaders. He became a global voice for the voiceless, for the rivers, for the fish, for the communities that depend on them. His message was simple, the same message his grandfather had taught him, the same message the river had taught him. We are all connected. The health of the river is the health of the people. The fate of the fish is the fate of humanity. It was a message that resonated, a message that the world was finally ready to hear, a message that sparked a global movement, a movement to protect the world's rivers, to restore their health, to ensure their future. And it all started with a crazy idea, a bucket of rotten bananas, and a fisherman who dared to believe in a ghost. Boramy, the ghost of the Mekong, lived a long life. She became the most studied fish in the world. The acoustic tag provided invaluable data. It revealed her migration patterns, her breeding grounds, her feeding habits. It unlocked the secrets of her species, secrets that were essential for their survival. She became a symbol of hope, a symbol of what is possible when science and tradition work together, when communities and conservationists join forces, when we choose to protect our natural world, not just exploit it. When she finally died of old age, she was mourned by the entire world. She was given a royal funeral, a testament to her importance, to her legacy. But her legacy was not just in the data she provided. It was in the movement she inspired, in the change she created, in the hope she gave to a world that was desperately in need of it. Kon Sophol lived to see that change. He lived to see his dream become a reality. He lived to see a world where the ghosts of the river were no longer hunted, but celebrated, protected, cherished. He died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 82. He was buried on the banks of the Mekong, the river he loved, the river he had saved. His funeral was attended by thousands, fishermen, scientists, world leaders, all coming to pay their respects to the man who had changed their world, the man who had taught them to believe in ghosts, to believe in crazy ideas, to believe in the power of one person to make a difference. His school continues to thrive. His students continue to spread his message. His legacy continues to grow. The revolution of the rotten bananas is not over. It is just beginning, and it is changing the world. For the better, forever. The story of Kon Sophol and Boramy is a story for our time, a story of hope, a story of courage, a story of the power of one person to change the world, a story that reminds us that the greatest treasures are not the ones we own, but the ones we protect, the ones we cherish, the ones we fight for, the ones that make us human, the ones that make us legends, the ones that make us immortal, the ones that make us ghosts, ghosts of the river, guardians, protectors, forever.